100%. Yeah, it was probably the word of the week, mate. A bit of just belief, this team is, a very experienced team, and they play best when they've got their backs against the wall, that's for sure. So, there's a number of hard times against us at the moment with the number of players we've got out, but I don't know, they rolled into training on Monday after that sort of disappointing loss against Brisbane, and there was a spring in their step, and I could sense that they were on for a big game. And we spoke about it all week, playing for 80 minutes and even longer. We thought this could have went all the way to the death, and there we were, the last set, defending our way to a victory. So, couldn't be proud of them. It was a super effort and a huge win for the club.
Is that the sort of win that can springboard your season, John, given everyone's been talking about the Roosters and the Storm and the Rabbitohs being out in front of everyone, and then your club's shown again when it comes to grit and guts and getting down and fighting for a win, they can do it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we had to put our start to the season. We've been obviously a little bit clunky, and if we would have dropped that one, we would have been one from our last five. So we had to put our foot down, and we had to come away. We had to get a victory, and we had to beat someone that was at the top of the ladder. And I'm really proud that they, as I said, the adversity they had to stick to the plan. I thought we really had a really clear plan to come into this game, and the boys didn't go away from it. What a second half. We were 20 from 20 with the ball, so not one error in the second half. And as I said, that's what it takes to beat the Melbourne Storm. They're a great club, and super effort.
Was that plan to shift the ball from side to side?
Oh, yeah, I won't really go into too much detail, but we did want to move them around a little bit. You're not going to have much joy if you take on the big boys one out in the middle. So, we wanted to move the ball around a little bit, and I thought that we had have some intensity come off our interchange bench as well. We really wanted to take them on there, and I thought, Big Ueli, Jace Pakuya, Jack Williams, Blake Brayley really did well in that middle part of the game and got our nose in front. And then we put our senior boys back on at the end there, and we hung on. So definitely, it's probably our first 80-minute performance we've had all year actually. It was good that we started well. We haven't been able to do that. We obviously let them back in with 12 points conceded before half time, but I was never really stressed. I was quite happy with the way things were going, and they were real positive at half time. So I'm real proud of them.
John, a lot made of the guys you got out, but you probably know better than anyone what talent you've got in these young kids who have come in and filled the gaps tonight. Like obviously Kyle was really good and whatnot. Like that wouldn't surprise you, I imagine.
Oh, I mean, they're still untested at this level. I've got great faith and belief in them. That's why I've been able to hand out 5 debuts in the first few weeks, which is probably a record for this club. But we've had to, given the injuries we've got. So, I had 100% faith that they were going to be up to it at this level. But you don't really know until they're out there. And as I said before, it's a bit of a baptism by fire for them. But now they're starting to show that this is where they belong, and I've got 100% confidence in them to perform at this level. And they're just going to be so much better for this experience. I'm just glad they've had that game where they've fought and they've found a way to stay in the battle and beat a good team. As I said, last week was a different type of experience for them. They just had to hang in, and it's an experience for them to come away with their tail between their legs and then turn it around quickly, focus on their prep, and get up for a big team. So they're great experiences for the boys, and they're all first graders. They belong in this team, and there's going to be some big calls, and the other boys are back. There's going to be some good competition for spots, which is good.
It was a big moment, I guess, when Kyle firstly grubbers and gets a repeat set, but then puts a kick in early for Britain to score. That's a big moment in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. A slippery, greasy night. We spoke about kicking early behind their edges, and it was good to get a couple of repeat sets off them. And Kyle, picked his moment nice there to double it up and get that try for Britain to core. It was a pivotal moment in the game, which got us into 12 all there to go into the break and then start the second half. With a bit of belief. It was good.
Chad's obviously the more senior half there, but it looks like Kyle's not afraid to take the keys, is he?
No, and that's the way he approaches his footy. It's it's a credit to him. He's it's always been a tussle for that jumper. He's bided his time well. He hasn't been able to play a lot of games in Newtown because he's been our 18th man, and it's quite a difficult position to be in. You got to prepare as if you're playing, but then you don't get a start, and then you go back and have a game in Newtown, different type of intensity. So it's very hard for a playmaker. But as I said, a week's a long time in footy, and I was only having a chat to him last week about just keeping his head down and remaining patient, and something might open up. And then, who would have thought that Sean's would have done a hamstring for it to open up, but it did, and he's jumped straight in and steered us to victory.
What's the secret to Nakora, mate? Like, he's obviously in 4 games, just going like that.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It's just this young batch coming through that they don't fear much. He's got a lot of belief in his ability to compete at this level. He's not overawed by his opposition, but he's very respectful. He obviously respects his opposition, but he's not overawed by it. He doesn't take a backward step, and just so raw. He would just make something out of nothing. So I'm glad that I gave him a start in round 1. He's really put his foot down and cemented that spot there on the right. And I think it showed that we didn't have him last week because he got suspended. But as soon as we got him back in there, we're a different looking team.
What did you see in him, mate, that you knew you had to put him in?
Oh, I just like the way he competes. Nick, he just competes so hard, and his timing is probably something that a lot of back rowers don't have, and that's what Britain has. And I sort of saw that in the pre-season, evolving, playing outside Sean Johnson, and just his timing to run those lines is something that tends to need to be developed over a long period of time. I also felt that he offered something that we lost in Luke Lewis, a really good hard line that was always on time for his halves. So I felt that it was the best thing for our game to have a really consistent line runner. But the other stuff that we've got with it, the chip over the tops for the tries and the little short side plays and stuff like that is certainly a bonus. But I just love the way he competes, mate, and the way he goes about his work.
John, where are you at with the injured guys? Is anybody close?
Yeah, Matty Moylan's, we're hoping for Manly, so we've got a short turnaround into the Titans, and then a bit longer turnaround Sunday against Manly. So we're hopeful of that. That takes him to about 6 weeks out. And then the good news is the kind of one after each other, and then hopefully best case Sean the next week against St George, and then we have a bye around then, and then we're looking at, and then Wade maybe 1 or 2 weeks early. And then we're looking at Aaron Woods, so it's kind of week apart when we get to that middle block.
And as a young coach, do you take any joy in outwitting Craig Bellamy, the great Craig Bellamy tonight?
No, not really. I'm obviously a big admirer of Craig. Loved everything he's done for the club, to go through this amount of time and win the premiership he's had. And but yeah, I didn't really think of that, to be honest. Ask me in a number of years' time and see how my stats add up to his.
Obviously, she had him on the wing 2 weeks ago and he was injured last week. Was there an injury to Will, or was it that you wanted Josh going back to number 1?
Yeah, no, I think it was just the game. It wasn't a game to be having, some of that young youth out there. It was never going to be about that. It was about rolling our sleeves up and playing really physical. I wanted a bigger body out there. Aaron Gray's experienced NRL player. So he came into the game. Sasai Feki just pulled up short yesterday at captain's run with a knee injury, but Will was always on standby this week. To Dukes was given right up until game weight just to make sure his hamstring was okay. But I thought he had a real good game, Dukes. He carried the ball strong and did what we needed to do to get the job done. We don't win it without Josh Dugan today.
John, you said some of those obviously stars that are injured are coming back in. How hard is it going to be to tell some of these guys, who've put in a performance like this, that obviously might have to make way?
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see what happens if we can keep backing up these victories. It's obviously we've got a fair few top line players on the sideline, but that's what it's all about. It's not about just the 17 to take the park. It's about our top squad of 30 men and getting the job done for the club. So whilst they've got the jumper, they've got to do everything they can to hang on to it. But yeah, there is some obviously good players coming back, but it's just all about next week for us and focusing on the Gold Coast Titans, not looking too far ahead.
A lot more fun handing out debuts though than doing the reverse.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, it's been good, but it's that every time you hand one out, it's because you're a man down as well. So it's it's kind of a double-edged sword that you've got an injury, so it's another debutant in. It's great news for the club. We can't keep handing them out because it means we're losing more and more players. So I'm happy for the ones who have made their debut, and there might be a couple of others. There's some that are capable as well to get their chance if that's needed. But yeah, super proud of these young boys that have come in and represented the club so good.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.